Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am excited to have as my guest, Jesse Reing. Is that correct?
Yeah, like ring on your finger.
Yes,
exactly.
That's what I thought. And let me tell you about Jesse. Jesse is the founder and CEO of the award-winning event and wedding planning company, Events by Jesse. She is considered a pioneer in the event field, focusing on setting trends and creating truly unique experiences that reflect the personality and values of her clients. Branding herself as your event wedding BFF, wedding planning BFF, and I love this part, is something that Jesse takes very seriously, as no one knows you better than your advocate BFF, best friend. And it's so true, right? So she takes that so seriously, and she takes us through the experiences, unveiling the lessons beyond wedding planning. A core theme emerges: self-respect. Jesse emphasizes the power of saying no and prioritizing one's well-being. She fearlessly confronts the common fears tied to rejection and conflict, revealing why she is saying no, and that is not just okay, it is crucial. So today we're going to do some debunking of unpopular beliefs. We've got several, and I would like you to please join me in welcoming my guest, Jesse Reing.
Vicki,
Well,
thank
Jesse,
you so much.
I went to 3 weddings this fall, one after the other. And it seems all my nieces and nephews decided, since they were all around the same age, they should all get married.
As it happens, we go through those spurts.
Yes. We dry period, and then everybody needs to get married. So you know what's next. I'm going to be having baby pictures coming up soon.
I hope so. That's exciting.
One is already on the way.
Okay.
So, we always start with a very easy question. What part of the country do you call home? Where do you live?
So that's an easy question for most, but I'll be honest, it's not always that easy for me. I am a New Yorker through and through, and will always consider myself to be a New Yorker, but I've been what I call a bit of a luxury vagabond for the past few years. However, my business remains in New York, and I'm happy to say I'll be a full-time resident again very soon.
Oh. So let's just get into these. Debunking unpopular beliefs. We're going to first give everyone the thing we're going to be debunking, and then we'll see what Jesse says, okay? So this is Jesse Says Hour, half an hour.
I love that.
So first is self-respect, which for me, if anybody listens to my podcast, you know, self-confidence comes from courage and self-respect. So we definitely want to get this debunked. Jesse says, you've been a pioneer in the wedding industry, right? So I want to know, Jesse, how do you define and prioritize self-respect in an environment that often revolves around external expectations. So what does Jesse say to that?
So Jesse says, I say that first of all, one of the things I love to tell people, whether it's my clients or anyone in my life, is that you will always be right and good to yourself if you act with self-respect 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? You know, we hear phrases like put yourself first, make sure you have me time. And those are really good phrases. They're inspirational, but sometimes it's really hard to pick through and say, well, what exactly does that mean? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I suggest that listening to that inner voice is really the way that we can figure out what the right thing is, how to respect ourselves most. Because a lot of the time, and especially in wedding planning, we hear those voices when we want to please others, when we want to not stir the pot, when we want people to be okay with our decisions. And that is not necessarily acting with self-respect. So when we hear those voices, the self-doubt voice, we have to say, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to act with self-respect and say, this is what I want and this is how I want it. Because at the end of the day, those people that we love and that love us and that we're so scared of disappointing, if we act with self-respect, they're going to respect us more too, even if they're annoyed about whatever the outcome may be.
Yeah. For my wedding, I planned it, and I did it because I didn't want, if anything went wrong, I knew that the only one to blame was myself. And it took all the stress off, and it was like, oh, it wasn't that bad of a thing. That's okay. And I had a fabulous time at my wedding. So that's what I always told my daughters is just have fun, do whatever you want. I'll just write the check.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you're going to bring this up as something to debunk, but one of the things I love talking about most is how people think that their wedding should be the best day of their life.
Oh,
And I believe if you do life right, your wedding is not the best day of your life. It's a great
that's
one. I hope
exactly right.
so. But it's the beginning of something that is hopefully much more exciting and rich and dynamic to come.
Absolutely. So the second thing that we're going to talk about is navigating rejection and conflict. So what does Jesse say about this? You mentioned the importance of saying no and overcoming the fear of rejection and conflict. Can you share Jesse's thoughts on personal experience where saying no was a real game changer? How did it contribute to your journey that you're on today?
Oh, so for myself.
Yes, Jesse says, this is what happened to me. Listen, everybody.
Okay. That's a great question. Just give me a second because I want to
Yeah,
think of
you
something
think of this.
good.
Because I'm sure that your life probably has
Oh
many
yeah.
twists and turns, and there's got to be some nugget that Jesse says will make things better for us, navigating rejection and conflict. I'm 66. I got a lot of them, so you're young. You got some, I'm sure, one or two.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. So, um,
But what about somebody that you've given this advice to?
oh, yes, I can definitely speak to that. I'm sure I have for myself as well. I just like
Yeah, you'll think
it's
of it as
hard
you
on
tell
the
me
spot.
about somebody else.
Yeah,
You will
exactly.
I remember that.
Yep, exactly. So I often have a lot of clients who are really close to their families. And as you know, oftentimes a wedding is not just the joining of two people, but it's the joining of two families. So it's not just two people we're dealing with and their opinions and wants and needs, but it's this extension of parents and grandparents and siblings and best friends and the web of people that exist in this world who love to share what they think and how they feel and don't really have a filter a lot of the time. So I actually have a client right now, super lovely. And her mom is also really lovely. But her mom is saying to her, here's some things that I want at the wedding, not as a negotiation, just as here's what we're going to be doing. And my bride really does not want to do some of those things. They may seem benign to a lot of people. It's having programs, how to kind of structure the day itself. But at the end of the day, even if these things are small, when we give in, people often feel free and that they are available to take more. So I have been coaching her through how to not just say to her Mom, here's the things that are important to me, and this is what we're going to be doing, but also that this is setting a precedent for her and her husband in the future, right? Close families means close to the grandkids and possibly involves in all of these things that are going to be big in life. So using your wedding planning experience as a way to train yourself on how to do that, I think could be a really great byproduct that you never would have expected to come through this time.
Very good. Okay, we're going to go to the next one just in the sake of time. So the next one to debunk is the crucial nature of saying no. So this is a theme we have here.
Yes.
Saying no is a recurring theme in the insights we're sharing today. Why do you believe it's just not okay, but crucial? And how can it impact individuals positively, both personally and professionally? Oh, we could talk a while on this one.
Oh, absolutely. So to me, the power of saying no and the necessity of saying no is not only about getting what you need or want in that moment, it's about getting your energy back. When we say yes so much of the time, we are expending energy that is either our last bits or energy we don't even have. And it does not allow us to enjoy life in the same way. We're looking to please, we're looking to make people happy, we're looking to not stir the pot, not cause conflict, not confront. But at the end of the day, that is doing a disservice only to us. Why do we as individuals find it easier and more calming to hurt ourselves than hurt someone else? And I'm not saying to be malicious to anyone, of course. Like oftentimes, at least in personal life, we're talking about people that you care about, and
Right.
even if it's your siblings saying, hey, could you watch my kids? Or your parents saying, we got to take the cars in. Can you bring the one car and then pick us up? And sometimes those things are easy. And sometimes, even though they seem so small, they are so exhausting that you can barely imagine, but you don't want to anger anyone and you want to show that you care. You're desperate to say, I care. But at the end of the day, these people in your life, personally at least, they will know that you care. You do not have to be afraid. No one who truly loves you is going to take away that love from you. And I think saying no is a way that you're going to teach yourself that, because what you're going to see is no one's going to love you less. You're not going to have a worse relationship with your parent. And I believe that on that small scale I mentioned, but I also believe it on a big scale, because like I said earlier, when you say no, you're acting with self-respect. And if you act with self-respect, you'll be treated with self-respect, with respect by others. In the professional world, saying no is such a necessity. Don't we overextend ourselves all the time, especially female entrepreneurs? Vicki, I know that you are hearing me right now. We want to show we can do it. We want to show we can have it all. So we're going to go, go, go 1,000% of the time. And let me tell you, today, I'm exhausted. I had a very, very rough week and I'm so tired. And we had to reschedule this call. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow night. It's been such a hard week. But then I said, you know something? This is for me. This is something that I'm doing for myself, for my business, for my brand, and just for me personally. So I'm keeping this.
You could have said no, because that would have been one less thing for me to do today, and I would not have been unhappy.
I
Life
know.
happens.
I could have said
get
no,
it.
but I do for others. And tonight I was doing for myself.
Perfect.
So I said
And
yes.
that's true. That's true. And I do want people to hear too. We're not saying that you should never say yes. It's
Totally.
just saying yes for the right thing. Like for me, 2021 was my year of yes, but it was yes, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to be in a book. And those were all things that, the 2017, 2015 Vicki might not have ever said, not even thought about. So we're not saying don't say yes, but say yes for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
All right, let's debunk another one.
Sure.
Oh, early expectations in wedding planning. Dun, dun, dun. You
Yep.
pointed out, we've talked about this a little bit too, that expectations for the wedding start even before the engagement. What societal factors contribute to these early expectations? How can individuals navigate them authentically?
Yeah. So I think that expectations for your wedding and from other people, probably a lot of the time, moms and daughters, I think that they can start from young childhood. It's something that we fantasize about, and it's something that seems fun and exciting and happy. And then life occurs, and you learn, and you experience, and you feel. And then by the time you're an adult and you've gotten to this place where you're finally ready to join someone in a marriage for your life, there's been a lot of talk about this already, and you had not even met your person yet. So you're also coming into your relationship with expectations for your wedding and for your marriage and what that may be. Now, I'm not saying that you should not feel that you've thought about things and educated, and there's really wonderful things that you can pick up from that life, but we're often putting expectations on our own selves from thoughts and desires we had at 7 years old that we have at 27, 37, 47 years old when we're actually getting married. I actually have someone in my life who we fantasized about our weddings when we were teenagers. And when she got married, everything she talked about then was exactly what she had. Now, I'm not saying that she did not want those things still, and it was lovely, but I was thinking, have you not changed?
Yeah,
Have you
right.
not evolved? And
Yeah.
not just that, where's the signs that you and your partner are working on this together? Because if it was a partnership, a partnership where they discussed what their wedding should look like, it would not be the same vision that she had had in high school.
Mhm. Unless she had a husband who said, just do everything, I'm good.
Yeah, and sometimes we get that, and sometimes that happens, and they're like, I just want to choose the music. We hear that a lot. But then we have also have expectations that occur at the time of the wedding. So, of course, we have the childhood expectations that really affect the person getting married themselves and family members who have kind of been in on that conversation with them. But then we have the expectations of those around you who know you in your current moment of life and have been, either newly in your life at that moment or along for a ride from high school or college or anything like that. And they are, like we said, weddings come in bursts. So a lot of people are going to a lot of weddings at the same time and seeing things and learning about all of that. So you have the best friend that says, you need to do all these things. And the bride may say, totally, I want to do all those things. Or the bride may say, I don't know, that's not my style. Or the bride and groom might say, we're actually going to elope. And there's disappointment that occurs for that person who has nothing to do with the wedding. Of course, they will be invited and maybe involved as a wedding party member, but there can be a lot of disappointment. I know stories about people who are really pushy and forceful about their own opinions on their friends' weddings. And it affects the couple because then whoever is the friend, the bride or the groom or whoever it is, that person gets really frustrated and stressed about their friendship. And that's going to end up affecting the relationship because they're super stressed and the wedding planning process in general. And it's just a spiral that no one enjoys in the end, but it really, really exists. So how do you navigate that? And there's a few ways. All relationships are different. We cannot give the same prescription for everything. But at the end of the day, I think honest, direct communication, you can never disagree with it. If you say, listen, Jill, I love you. You're my best friend. But me and James are really excited about this wedding that we're planning. And we're so happy that you're going to be involved in it. I can't wait to tell you about everything we're going to do.
And be done with it. Yeah, I know. I saved my wedding dress and I had two daughters. And so I thought, oh, well, one of them might fit into it. And so when my daughter got married, she looked at it in the box, perfectly preserved, and she said, it looked great on her, but the dress she picked was perfect for her. And so now I have that wedding dress in my basement, perfectly preserved.
Yeah.
And she has two sons. I said, can I just sell that sucker?
You know what I saw recently was a picture at the cocktail hour of, I think this bride had 2 or 3 generations of wedding dresses from hers and her fiance's or husband's family. I loved that. They had them on dress
Yeah.
forms. They were
Yeah.
beautiful as a display. It was stunning.
One of the locations we looked at, that's what they had as the dress form thing. And so we thought about it, but nah, it's in the box.
As it will remain.
As it will remain, yes. Building trust in desires. Oh, trust and belief in one's own desires seem to be a challenge for many. How can individuals cultivate trust in themselves and their desires, especially in an environment where societal norms often dictate what is acceptable?
Absolutely. This is a really, really hard one. And I think that it's especially difficult because it's something that's, at least for me, it would be nearly impossible to transition into this kind of thinking for myself without the help of others. So some of these things we can really do some soul searching and self-work and the journaling, and that helps for everything. But we as humans in this current society often need affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking that something that we like or want or desire, as you said, is maybe not enough or not okay or off or whatever it is, it's really hard to convince ourselves that it is actually okay simply because we've convinced ourselves of that. That's like a real high level of 100% self-respect all the time. So we can go to others. We can go to the people that we trust and say, hey, here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I'm dealing with. I want to be able to trust myself, and I don't know that I can. So can you please let me know that things are okay? Can you go out of your way and ask me, hey, I know that we've been talking about this all along because it's what other people have done or we liked it someone else's, but really, if we could have anything else, what do you think it might be? And it is probably going to be something that you can't even say on your own. You'll have to brainstorm, work it out together, use the help of those around you. And especially if you're wedding planning or if you're in a partnership in any part of life and you're struggling with this, talk to your partner. This is going to help bond you. It will help seal that trust and renew it, right? Through relationships and life, we need to have renewal within our partnerships. Even if you're married to someone for 60 years, your own parents, we all change, we all evolve, and odds are people do not evolve at the same pace in the same way at the same time, right? This is pretty impossible.
Yeah.
But using tools like this as a renewal to say, I need you to help me through this. And it will only help every other aspect of your life, right? This is not just for weddings and wedding planning. That's a metaphor. This is for life. This is for business. This is for everything that you can imagine. Your relationship with your children, teaching your children how to do this, to be able to fulfill their true, all the humanity they can fulfill in their lives.
Okay, one more before we get to rapid fire. The shift from saying no to saying yes to oneself. I think we kind of covered this. Your perspective on self-respect is refreshing, but shifting from saying no to others, saying yes to oneself, it is truly a mindset shift. You have all of these things, especially people that are in the wedding situation, but, women especially, we have this illusion that we have to be perfect. And I think that sometimes keeps us from being able to say no or say yes for me. This is what I need to do, and being confident enough to know that that's okay.
Yeah, should I talk about something personal? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I started my wedding planning business, I was actually engaged. And about 8 months into that engagement and my wedding planning business, this all kind of happened at the same time. And honestly, I did not have time to really start my business during this whole engaged process.
No, I would have thought you were crazy, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely was. But I was in a relationship with someone who was asking me to say yes, not to them, but to their family for things that were not okay and not comfortable. But I did it every single time because I was told we have to do that. It has to be that way. This is their expectation, and you have to fulfill this expectation because I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to stir the pot. I want everything to be okay. I want them to not be upset about things because my ex-fiance was terrified of his family. He was terrified that they were going to remove their love. And frankly, they acted like they would. So I understood his fear, but there was toxicity all around there. And I was deep into this situation and about to get married, knowing I was going to be miserable and probably divorced.
Yeah.
And he couldn't take it anymore and ended up breaking things off with me about 5 weeks before our wedding. And it was a blessing in disguise. Obviously devastating, humiliating, all of that at that time. But it's one of those pivotal moments in my life where I wasn't like, I'm going to say no from now on, but I realized what I was agreeing to every single day. And I was like, you are nuts, said to myself. You would have been miserable. You do not deserve this life.
Yeah.
And the people in your corner don't want to see that life for you. But I was supporting my partner's enablement with his family. And that's not a good enough, no partner is good enough for that.
And probably people closest to you were in their minds thinking you should get out of this, you should get out of this.
Well, they weren't, because in those situations, we often keep things from the people closest to us because we know what's going on. Right? When we're keeping secrets from our loved ones, that is a surefire sign that you have to question what you're doing, everyone.
Yeah. All right, then the very last one we have is the commonality of denying oneself. So you mentioned the commonality of denying oneself to please others. Share an example of this in the wedding industry and how it extends beyond and into our personal lives.
Yes, so I had an awesome couple. Now, I will preface this story by saying it didn't even happen because it's about fireworks and they ended up being rained out. But there was weeks and months of fireworks discussions leading up to the wedding. And the dad was just a super cool guy, really, really wanted fireworks. It was a very large expense, as you can imagine, but he said, that's fine. I'm going to foot the bill. I want to have fireworks during my daughter's wedding. So we schedule the fireworks and, we have it scheduled for the end of cocktail hour as a way to say, okay, now really time to party, because in a lot of places there's an ordinance for fireworks. So we couldn't have it at the end of the night. They had to be off by 9:45. So I said, okay, well, instead of the end of the night, let's do it end of cocktail, and it'll be a way to signify, boom, we're going to go really party right now. So we talked about this for a long time. A few weeks before the wedding, I get a call from the bride saying, my dad wants us to have the fireworks after everyone is in the ballroom already. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, he wants them to be basically within the first hour. Now, the bride and groom also did not want to get introed before the fireworks. So now they're missing, because of the logistics of the meal and the order taking, all these things, the bride and the groom were missing 45 minutes of their wedding because of the dad. And I explained it all to them. I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. And she said to me, my dad has put his foot down. Now, I am an event planner. My job is to advise and to guide, but my job is not to make decisions, final decisions. So I did my due diligence. I said, here's all of the issues if this happens, and they still say, yes, go ahead, well, then I have to go ahead. But I was really, really sad for the bride and groom that they were going to miss a good chunk of their party. Their party's 4 hours. They're missing 45 minutes of it. And then part of it's eating, so it's not like...
Right, no partying.
Yeah, they seemed okay, but it also just, when she said my dad put his foot down, and I know this person is at least 30 years old, it's just like, is that really in 2023? Is that really a good excuse to do something that doesn't make sense? And I don't think it is, but everyone has their own family relationships.
I guess if they put his foot down meant that he wasn't signing a check, that could be a problem. All right. It is time now for us to move on to the slide. If you have enjoyed all of this conversation of the things we've debunked and you want to chat more with Jesse, I will give you the contact information on my slide. As always, if you've been listening, you know you should have had a paper and pencil, got all these notes, but this information will be on my YouTube channel and my Find Your Leadership confidence.com. So you can reach Jesse by going to eventsbyjesse.com, and Jesse is spelled Jesse. So eventsbyjesse.com. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Everybody say thank you, Jesse.
Thank you,
They are
Vicki.
Events by Jesse.
Come say
Yeah.
hi. I love to chat with people.
And I will let Jesse talk to you about her call to action, what you can find when you go to the website, and some things she might have on Instagram or Facebook, a TikTok that might really be entertaining or interesting.
Yeah, so our website is a really great overview of who we are. We call ourselves, as Vicki mentioned, your event and wedding planning BFF. No one knows you better. No one advocates for you more. Getting to know our clients and making sure their personalities are infused in the events. You'll see it on our website. I think we do a great job of showing that that is how we like to work. And then please visit our social media. We have inspiration, we have advice, we have some funny memes and reels. So please go check it out. And if you want to talk, you can DM me on any platform and I'll be happy to chat.
Right. So thank you so much for being such a great guest. I always love talking all things weddings and the crazy things that go on that we need to just have somebody that's got a solid handle on what needs to be done. And I love the fact that you say that you aren't the decision maker, because I think sometimes people hire a wedding planner and think, here, you do it. But it is your wedding. It's not Jesse's. And so
that's right.
You want to make your memories and be what you want. So again, go to Events by Jesse. And I will now say, as always, that life is a journey and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.